I think it starts as that, but I think when you see the growth of it, it becomes like, okay, this is my business now.
Yeah, it becomes more than a side hustle.
More than a side hustle,
Ooh-wee.
It does.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Hartzog Hustle podcast, where we help 9-to-5ers create more impact, income, and influence outside their jobs. My name is Anthony.
And I'm Jhanilka. And we want to thank you for joining. If you can do one thing for us, if you can go and leave us a review on whatever platform you're listening to us on, if that's Apple, Spotify, Yahoo, wherever you're listening to us at, please go and leave us a review right now. You can continue to listen to the podcast while you leave the review. Thank you very much.
Yes, we appreciate you guys being here as always. A new episode drops every Tuesday. So this episode, we're going to be talking about 5 side hustles to look forward to in 2023. Because as you guys may or may not know, we are the side hustle king and queen. We were able to pay off $114,000 of debt in 23 months by side hustling and raising our income.
Yes, we did. We were, while working on 9-to-5s, we had between us maybe 4 to 5 side hustles at the same time. So I think we know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
What we're talking about here. Now, that was granted back in maybe that was 2017 to 2018, but we still have an idea.
Yeah, there's some side hustles that we're looking forward to. Even some of them we may even be talking about like doing ourselves, but these are the ones that come across our timeline a lot. These are the ones that have a lot of upside, and we feel like these are the ones that people can really dive into this year. But this topic is coming at a very crucial time because literally, as I'm scrolling social media, people are talking about the recession as always, but literally, Amazon plans to lay off more than 17,000 workers in the next couple weeks.
I feel like the past 3 months, all these big companies or well-known companies have been laying off a lot of people.
Yeah.
Facebook, Twitter. What does Facebook call again? Metaverse?
Meta.
All these people have been laying off a lot of people. So it's I wanted to react to you saying it's a recession, though. I had a quick comment on that.
Oh, go ahead.
The stats say that we spent the most during Black Friday, the most we ever spent.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is that generally what happens in a recession? We start to buy more? We spend more? Is it people usually supposed to be saving?
I think right now, people still have that COVID money. Like that pandemic money, all those
the scam money.
No, in general, people got paid a little bit more.
Oh yeah, there were checks that went out. That's true.
So as we get to the end of the year, I think the numbers really didn't come out until late last year, so I don't think people really feel it. But 2023 is when what they say. But at the end of the day, they've been saying no one can really predict a recession. But as people start to talk about layoffs, especially in these big tech companies, that's where the recession conversations start happening more and more because they're like, all right, how do we cut corners in terms of creating more profit margins? And the easiest way to do that is by
letting go of people.
Exactly. So most companies' highest expense is going to be people.
Yeah.
So the easiest way to cut expenses and increase profit is to cut people.
Yeah. And you know how we always say, or some of us feel like we stay at our job because it's guaranteed. And I always use this word guaranteed because, we sign those contracts or we're becoming employees and it says basically that we can fire you for whatever reason. Yeah. We don't have to have a reason, right? So as much as we feel like they're secure, not all of them are. But
then also remember, a lot of companies received funds during the pandemic too.
That's true.
So they were able to get more money. So usually when they got more money, they hire more people, they hire more staff. A lot of these companies, especially like Amazon, a lot of people were buying more while they were home. So they needed more people to work. So now
I became Amazon queen, and I definitely was not prior to COVID.
So as people are home, as people are spending money, Amazon's like, I'm gonna hire more people. And now people are back at work, people are out in the field, there's less money to be spent. So the first thing they're gonna do is cut all the people they hired.
Yeah.
And then Salesforce, they said they're going to cut staff by 10% in some offices. And their CEO is saying he's serious about improving profit margins, which is what we said. And on Wednesday of the week, they said they would slash 10% of their workforce and get people back in real estate, getting them back in the offices. And
they want people back in the office badly.
Yeah, because you have this huge office space in Midtown in New York City that you're spending $10,000 a month on in rent.
I'm sure more than that.
Yeah, and you're like, I have a whole empty office, and the quickest way to increase profit margins is getting people back in the office and utilize the space that they have.
Yeah, I think it's about utilizing the space because we already got this rent. But if the rent is up, if the what's it called? Not the rent,
the lease.
The lease is up, then let it go.
Well, when we were at our company, the challenge was that we just renewed our lease.
Yeah.
We literally, before the pandemic, when I was at my 9-to-5, if you guys didn't know, I left my 9-to-5 a year ago last month, which is why I'm wearing my retired shirt. So go check out that episode. It will be in the show notes. Leaving my job. So when we actually renewed our lease was right before the pandemic happened. So we renewed, I think we went to like 3 to 5 years, something like that. Because in New York City, those offices, you can't do year to year. It's like you got to do 5 to 10 year leases, especially in like Midtown East, because those are highly desirable areas. So you renew for 5 years, and then you have a pandemic. They got this big open space, open building, and you're like, how do I utilize my people more? Getting them back in office. So people are cutting ties, cutting profits by getting rid of people.
No, it makes sense. But you bringing that up makes sense just specifically for our topic about talking about side hustles.
Yes.
Which it always is, not a tongue twister, but it always is kind of like the difference between a side hustle and a business. What would you say that is?
The difference between a side hustle and a business is the way you create and implement it. So we're going to be talking about, like, down the line, too. We're going to be talking about how to turn your side hustle into a successful business. And I think some of the things that you do is the way you start the business and your mindset around it. A lot of it could just be the language. You could incorporate your business. You could have everything ready to go and still call it a side hustle.
Yeah, which is kind of what we did for a bit too.
Exactly.
With the business. But I'm like, how does one differentiate a side hustle versus business? You maybe don't have to. You may not have to differentiate the side hustle, but when it becomes a business, you need to be very clear on that if you want to make money.
I think from the very beginning, you should change them. If you at least want to do it, I guess a time frame too. So we knew we didn't want to walk dogs for over.
That was a side hustle.
We knew we didn't want to
work at the gym forever.
So that was a side hustle. When we started the cleaning business, we knew we wanted to do it for at least 3 to 5 years.
Did we? I don't know if we knew what we knew.
I knew we wasn't going to do it for a year.
Well, we had said when
we knew. Okay, let's not put a time frame on it. Let's say you want to do it for. We want to do it for an extended amount of time.
We also was doing it for a reason as well.
Yeah.
So it could be similar to kind of the dog walking and the working at the gym, because we wanted to start this business to help pay off the debt.
Yeah.
So one could say once you paid off the debt, you could have stopped the business.
That's true.
Right? So then it's like, what made us say this is now a business versus a side hustle?
Yeah.
It's kind of a rhetorical. I don't know. I don't know if it's like the time commitment that you put into it, the amount of work it takes that changes it from a side hustle to a business, I think. I don't know. Because some of the things that we're going to list here, I think it starts as that, but I think when you see the growth of it, it becomes like, okay, this is my business now.
Yeah, it becomes more than a side hustle.
More than a side hustle, yeah.
Ooh-wee.
It does.
So we're gonna start diving into it. But I think the way you start it and the way your mindset should be on it from the very beginning is going to tell you if this is a business or this is a side hustle.
Yeah.
Because usually, again, we're talking a 9-to-5 or so. You're going to start something outside your job. Right. And more than likely, that is going to start as a side hustle because your 9-to-5 is going to be your main entity.
Okay. I got a little challenge to that.
So your 9-to-5 is going to be your main entity, and more than likely, our goal is to get you to invest into something outside your job. They're talking about these layoffs, they're talking about a recession, so our goal and our job here is to help you find things to start outside your job. This is why we're going to be talking about side hustles to look forward to in 2023, or side businesses to look forward to in 2023. And I think I'm going to add a piece of this to say potential growth of each. And that's going to tell you if it's going to be a side hustle or if it's going to be a business.
I guess, because when you were saying like doing it outside your 9-to-5, I'm like, because with our students, with the cleaning business, they do it outside their 9-to-5.
Yeah.
And we call it a business, right? So it can be tricky, but.
So I think potential growth factor is going to help you determine if this should be growing this into an actual business.
And also if you want to do it. Right. I don't know that I will do. Now, I don't need to love what I'm doing when it comes to a business, but I don't know if I'm going to do something that I don't like.
Yeah.
Right. So, for example, if I don't like dog walking, I'm not going to make that a full-time thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't like it. Right. So I think it needs to be, when it comes to business as well, not that you need to love what you do, but it needs to be something that you like to do, that you see the potential in it. You want to show up day after day, week after week, hour after hour to make sure that it runs well. So.
Yeah.
First one we have for side hustles to look forward to in 2023.
Oh, before you even get to that, and each one of these we're going to list growth potential too. So don't let me forget that, please. And we just
Growth potential. Okay.
Sorry, and we just told you some of the things that you should look for if you're trying to figure out this should be a side hustle or grow this into an actual business. So yes, the title was side hustles to look forward to, but these are also things that you could grow into actual monetary long-term businesses as well.
So the first one is virtual assistants. Now, what does that mean? What is a virtual assistant? Because I know sometimes we speak about it and people are like, they're not sure what it means.
So literally a virtual assistant is someone who's going to help you out in your business, in your day-to-day, in your life, virtually,
An
remotely.
assistant that works for you virtually. That's
Remotely.
yeah, remotely. So meaning that they're not coming into the office or, coming to see you. They work in another state, city, maybe in your city, just remotely, like how most of us did during the pandemic. We work remotely, and they assist you with things that you need for your business, right? And that can be a range of things. That can be social media management. That can be executive assistant. That can be just a virtual assistant to do tasks for you, whatever it is. Virtual assistants, I think they, you've always heard of it, but I felt like it was on the rise during the pandemic.
Yeah. And one of the go-to resources on this is just Annalisa. We'll drop her in the comments. She's a go-to resource for teaching people how to become virtual assistants. And I feel like there is tons
while maintaining a 9 to 5.
while
Still has
maintaining
hers.
a 9 to 5. And I think the growth potential on this in 2023 is going to be huge because during the pandemic, a lot of people were working from home and they were doing different things to help them create income.
Because what you realize during the pandemic is you have all this extra time. For most people, we're from New York. So those that were in New York, you usually commute for about an hour and a half each way.
Yeah.
Each way, morning and afternoon. So maybe that's 3 hours back in your day that people had during the pandemic that they're like, what can I do here? What can I add on here for all of these things? And so virtual assistants did become a big one that people are doing because they can. They have the flexibility to do it. And a lot of times virtual assistants don't necessarily need to work 40-hour weeks. Sometimes people just want them for 10 hours a week or 3 hours a day, or it's so flexible that people can, require or want virtual assistants 24 hours a day. So at any time you could be like, when the baby goes down, let me now do this. So it definitely has a high earning potential.
Yeah, and some ways to get started, you could just, especially on social media management, if you see anyone who posts a lot of content, and if you have any experience online, and try to provide value to them. Right now, everyone's getting a ton of DMs on social media, but I can tell you for a fact, busy business owners need help and they want to outsource the help. And one of the ways to do that is hiring someone to do that. So virtual assistant would be a huge one. DMing someone, providing value. And you could do simple things, answering DMs, answering emails, posting content for them, especially on social media. That could be a huge one to get into. And you were talking about needing an executive assistant.
I've needed an executive assistant for the past 2 years.
And what would an executive assistant do as a virtual assistant? What would a virtual assistant, executive assistant do?
Like my EA, I need to have with me.
Okay.
I don't want an EA that's only virtual.
Okay.
Because I have tasks that I need done in face to face. So, but if someone is doing it online, maybe they're just scheduling trips, they're scheduling grocery orders, they're setting up your accounts. There's so many things that they can do. It's like whatever you need from the person. Essentially, you make up your own rules for what you need from this EA.
And I think that would be another one. So if you, especially just again, shooting a shot to someone, shooting them a DM, especially if you see them on social media. Hey, do you need executive assistant? I can help you with this,
A, B,
this,
C, and D. Yeah,
like you just said, groceries. Like we travel a lot, so booking a hotel, making sure Ubers is set up, like making sure that the hotel has a crib in it.
Yep.
So those are things that you normally have to do. So what are some ways that you could help business owners remove some of the items off their plate that gives them back their time?
Yeah. And
that's exactly what a virtual assistant does. They help people get their time back. And that's why I feel like this can be huge, especially in 2023.
Yeah. Time is everything. I think we always talk about that. Like we pay for convenience. We don't mind paying for convenience. And we're willing to pay for it. So definitely virtual assistants. That is a huge thing. If you're available, if you're at home, you're like, I'm looking for something. I have some time, free time.
And you're spending time behind a computer. You're doing it already.
Yeah.
Especially if you're working from home. You are doing it already. You are behind a computer. Picking up an extra, 5-10 hours a week ain't hurt nobody.
No. Mm-mm. And that's another part of it. It becomes so flexible. That is a key thing, I think, with some of these, almost all of these things. When we were side hustling, you got to find out, or you need to think about what you need from it. Mm-hmm. For us, when we were side hustling, we needed the freedom and flexibility because we still had a 9-to-5 and we still were traveling a lot, and we wanted that freedom. So any side hustle that we did had flexibility for us. So if that's something that's important to you, then when you're looking at these side hustles or listening to us report some of the things that we're about to mention, you need to figure out, does it fit your lifestyle? Does it work for your lifestyle as well? So
yes. Does it work for your lifestyle? So next side
number
hustle,
2.
Next side hustle is something that we've been going back and forth on for a while. Ooh. So event spaces are huge on social media right now, and building content creation studios.
No, I'm just going to say, we have spoken about this a few times before because of my mother. She's a teacher full time, but she has been decorating and emceeing and all this for maybe 25 years plus. The whole time I've known her. So we have toyed with the idea of event space. And now, like you said, a lot of people do event space / content studio. So whenever it's not being used as an event, people can still come in there, take pictures, videos, whatever they need, because there's so many people creating content and influencers and things like that. So that is another big one that I guess a lot of people do, you would say, or not definitely. A lot, but a good amount. It's popular.
And let's kind of break down exactly what that means. So that would mean that you are creating or creating a business around an event space, or a side hustle around building an event space. So it would look like you renting out literally a physical space, and you are leasing the space, you're financing the space, or you literally buy the space, and your job is to get it rented out to people, like Jhanilka said, getting people to book events, getting people to host parties, getting people to create their content in there. So that's your goal in that business. And I feel like this is a highly scalable business only if you put the work in up front. This is not something that's like set it and forget it. You have to create the systems and processes around it to make sure you maintain. This is another version of a local service business, so we're going to talk about that. But this is something that you have to maintain, upstanding quality of service. It's not something that you just put out there and hope it works. No, you have to put up upstanding quality of service into building an event space or any space.
And I think that this is always needed because I know for us, we have a lot of events and I never go back to the same space. So even if it was great, I can recommend it to somebody, but I'm like, I want a different feel. I want a different look. So there's never too many event spaces, right? There's some that's either maybe it's too small, can't host all the people that I want, or their hours, or they have rules, or so there's room for event space, even if it feels like, too many people have it. Trust me, there's always people looking for events. People do events during the week. I know you're maybe just thinking during the weekend, but people do events during the week. It could be a church event. You just never know. There's always room for it. So I think that it is something that we're toying with. And if we ever do it, of course we will share it. But we are very interested in doing an event space / content studio / podcast. We don't know, but once again, with that side hustle that we're talking about how does it fit into your life? That's what we're trying to figure out. Like, how does it fit into our lifestyle? Yeah,
that's a big one. We would immediately have to hire someone into that business to manage it. Yeah. And they would have to be really good at a lot of things. So they'd have to be good at customer service. They'd have to be good at inquiries. We could hire some virtual assistants to manage the digital part of it, but that person would literally need to be good at a few things, a lot of things to help us run it and manage it the way we would do it. That's another thing. That's another reason why it took us so long to give up control in our cleaning business, because we felt like we wanted someone to do it as well as us. But then you realize nobody can do it as well as you at the end of the day. Sometimes it just takes you giving up reins and control and then figuring out how it works from there. What else do you need? Like we talked about this on the other episode. Is like if somebody could come in and give 70% as much as you can, and you find somebody else to give 20 or 30, you got your 100% right there. It doesn't have to be you doing everything. So that's something to be mindful of in this business. And
no, I was just saying along the lot you was gonna say about the podcast studios. Same thing. Well, similar.
Yeah, I think it'd be similar. Podcast studio or content creation space, photography studio, just something where people can rent out and they have a vision and something that they could create.
Yeah, the reason I think that we like the event space / content studio, if you will, is because if it's not rented, then if it's not rented for an event, then it could be used for content and vice versa, right? So that is another one that you can get into in 2023 if you have the income to do so. I would say, like you said, you basically rent the space and then book it out for people to pay for your rent.
Yeah,
and make a profit.
Two people in that space that we're very familiar with is Neo and Billionaire B. They teach people how to start event spaces. So we'll link their bios below so you can go check them out if that's something you're interested in doing in 2023. We think that...
Sure, I should be getting... what's the word I'm looking for?
Referral?
A referral for these people. I'm shouting you out on my podcast.
So that's something that we look forward to, and something that you can look forward to in 2023 too.
Turo and Airbnb is what we put together. We laugh at Turo because when we were side hustling, that is one of the things that we did do. We put our car on Turo. There's two platforms, was it?
Turo and Hire a Car.
Turo and Hire a Car. And we didn't know that people was making courses out of it. We should have done it then. So Turo and Airbnb are two other big ones that you hear probably on social media all the time. I know Turo, I would say, is a bit easier because you literally just sign up for the platform, you take pictures, and you put it out there, and people start renting your car.
Yeah, I think
that's kind of straightforward.
Yeah, I think the barrier to entry on that one is
way lower.
So this is something that you can definitely do. We rented out our first car in 2017, literally after we bought it, and
a year after we paid it off.
Yeah, and a year later we paid it off, and we literally, like you said, they gave us the professional photographers. They came out, we booked it, we had the photos up, and we were just renting out. The only thing with that business that it is something that you can grow, but you have to have the right knowledge in that business. You can't just throw a bunch of cars on Turo and think you're going to start making money. This is something that requires expertise and skill in order to scale and grow that business. So it's not something that you could it's something that you can literally get started
right
today
away,
to help you create more income on the side. But when we're talking about something that's going to turn from a side hustle to more than a side hustle, you have to have the knowledge and learn how to grow and scale that business. So a good resource in that one is going to be Marlon. Deuce Walls, we'll add him as well. Airbnb is something that
it's a bigger bite.
Yes, that is.
Because I'm thinking about like the furniture and the.
So we have some experience in Airbnb. We managed 7 Airbnbs at our height in our cleaning business, and managing the business on the professional side is almost as similar as us having the space and owning it ourselves.
We just didn't furnish it. That's it.
The only thing is that we didn't furnish it. So that was in our eyes, that was more scalable. Absolutely. Barrier to entry is a lot higher in that business.
Yeah. Especially nowadays, people are like
so many options.
Frowning on Airbnbs. Like so many people are like against Airbnbs because of like their cleaning fee is $300 and you gotta wash the toilet and clean the dog and park the car and everything before you leave. Yeah. So I know a lot of people are frowning about it, but a lot of people are still making a lot of money from it. So I guess it's still lucrative. It is still something that people are doing.
Yeah, I don't think Airbnb is going to ever go out of business. Because,
I don't think so either.
Because hotels, number one, because they created a synonymous name for putting your house on a platform and someone booking it. Yeah. No matter what it is, it's going to be Airbnb. No matter what it is, it's going to be Uber. When you create something synonymous with the industry, then that's your lane. That's never going to change.
And now they have it that, I don't know if you've been on, you don't look at none of our trips, but now they have it like very specific of like luxe Airbnb. You want a cabin Airbnb. Like they have categories of different things.
That's good.
To be so, I love it. I like looking at the houses and stuff like that. So they're changing it up. So I think it still is a lucrative business, but it definitely will take a lot more time and money.
Yeah.
To get into that.
But with what I was going to say, especially now that you mentioned like those Lux categories. So I think Airbnb will always be something that a side hustle that people could do, because if you have a space in your home, I know right now people are like, oh, they're anti-Airbnb. But if you give someone a full kitchen, that's literally a lot. That's one of the reasons why people
do that instead of a hotel.
Especially if you're doing a long-term stay. A lot of people don't want to stay at a hotel for a week, 2 weeks. They want to stay with something where they could go get groceries. They could go, they could cook a full meal in their house. They can invite people over. They can enjoy the experience of, and that was the whole point of the platform, was so that you bring that home experience with you on the road. Yeah. You don't get that same experience at a hotel.
And I still like Airbnbs when it's a lot of people too, right? So it's just fun that way. Yeah. Versus like if we're all getting together, or if it's a girl trip or just whatever, it's like 8 of us. Instead of having 8 different hotel rooms or 4 different hotel rooms, we all stay in the same house, have our own room. It's fun.
Yeah, this is something that you can still do outside your job. So it doesn't require 40 hours. If you have, one place, it doesn't require 40 hours of time. You got the checkout, you got the check-in, you got the things in between, making sure the place is ready to go.
Clean and ready.
So it's still something that could be a side hustle, but it also something that could grow and scale if it's something that you do want to do as well. If you have the time, energy, and materials to grow a business like that, it's something that you could turn from a side hustle into a business.
Yeah. Yeah. The fourth thing we have for side hustles to look forward to in 2023.
Wait, wasn't that the 5th? Isn't it the 5th?
How was it?
Oh, no, sorry, my bad.
It was Turo / Airbnb.
Yeah, you're right.
That was part of the 3.
Airbnb, if you're interested in research on that, there are tons of people on social media.
He's like, Google it yourself.
Look at that one, you can look it up.
There is a lot of people. There's a lot of people for Turo, too.
Yeah.
The fourth one we have is digital product / coaching consulting space.
This is a big one, especially if you have an expertise in a given area. This can be a very lucrative side hustle. And something that allows you to help people in need. Yeah, that is something that we did, especially starting in 2020, when we were learning that there were people who wanted to know more about what we do. This is something that we did. So this is something that we realized that people wanted and people needed. And when we got in a space, it was like, I don't want to say it was easy, but there was a lot of room for people to grow and scale in the coaching and consulting space, especially with digital products.
Yes. So, and someone would say, well, how do I even do that? Or we speak about just figuring out what people ask you about. What do people come to you for? What is something maybe you have a passion about that you can teach others? Nothing is too big or small. And I know people feel like, well, it's too many people out there doing, let's say, A, B, and C. There's something about you that's going to attract people to you, right? So one could say, oh, there's enough trainers out there. There's billions of people in this world. That's why I always say when I'm like, there's billions of people in this world. So no, there's not enough trainers. Something about you that's going to attract someone to you, or a chef, or somebody talking about financial freedom. You have a different story from other people. Like maybe you're by yourself compared to us. We're a couple. Maybe you're Caucasian compared to us. We're Black. Maybe you're from Louisiana compared to us. We're from Brooklyn. You know what I mean? There's so many different walks of life that whatever you have to provide is needed and wanted in the space. And you can make money from it.
Yeah. And now how much you make depends on the problems that you solve. Yeah. That's a big one. So if you are helping people in a space where you're creating more time for them and helping them create more income for themselves, you can make as much money as you want at that point. There is no income ceiling or income cap. If you help people make more money or save more time, you will always be in business. And that's something we say all the time.
So yeah, adding value to their life is going to be a game changer, is how you can be in the digital product space and consulting space. I don't know what else to say about that. I know you see a lot of people as well doing the coaching and stuff like that, but there is something that you probably can do as well.
Yeah.
To make that side hustle.
And this is something that you could start outside your job, because it doesn't require you. You don't have to do, let's say you want to be I was in tech for 9 years. I became a director. I was the youngest director in my company. I managed a team of about 35 before I left. I had a budget of a couple million, and I grew that team from 0 to 35 people at the end of the day. If I wanted to teach people how to go up in the corporate ladder in a majority, white company, in a majority white space, that's something that I could do. If I want to teach people how to manage a team and lead a team of 30 to becoming one of the most successful, teams in the space during that time, I could do that. So there are skills that you have at your 9 to 5 that people are dying to know, but they just don't know that they need that skill. So like you, one of the things that you were doing, we talked about this a while ago, but teaching people on the mental health side of things, like all the things that you were doing. So that's something that you want to talk about some of that or no?
No, I don't get into those details.
So it's not much I can say, but Jhanilka was doing things on the mental health side of things that there were people asking her questions about constantly. And she was just helping people for fun. But I was like, this could literally be
a course. Everything could be a course for Tony.
Or it could be a coaching or consulting, because you were literally having conversations with friends and family about the things you were doing to help you make money, that literally help them make money and get out of paying off debt and growing their income and changing their lives. So there is knowledge that you have that you really don't know until you start talking about it more. So that's something to think about, especially in 2023. If there is a digital product that you could create one and done that helps people get a desired result, or if you want to go more along the coaching, consulting side of things, that would allow you to literally walk people through it. If you're scared, you know what? I don't know how to create a product. Listen, get people on the phone and you do it for them or help them do it. So that's something that's definitely scalable, trust me, because we know. And it's something that you can do outside your job that could turn into a business.
Yes. The last and final thing that we will say about side hustling in 2023 is starting a cleaning business. No, starting a local service business. Cleaning business would be part of that. Local service can be anything from a plumber, electrician, a car wash, barber, nails, hair, carpet cleaning, whatever, anything along those lines. And the reason why we would suggest it as a side hustle to start is because it's a low cost startup. And you can get started right away. It does not require 40 hours of your time. And you obviously, it can become lucrative, and you obviously can see the business grow, as we know with our cleaning business. You want to do your commercial now?
Yeah. We teach people how to start and scale 6 or 7 figure cleaning businesses without cleaning houses. If you're interested in that, check out Cleaning Business University.
Yes.
And you could use the same skills that we teach you in our course to start a local service business.
Period.
So I literally did an Instagram live where I walk people through deciding on a local service business to start, and then dissecting it. We decided on a mobile car wash, a mobile detailing, local service business, and we went through the pricing structure. We went through how you could do it, how you could hire people to do it. And if you are coming into an industry like local service industry, one of the things about it is that it's so outdated. There's people who's been in this industry 10, 15, 20 years, and there's no technology. So if you are a millennial, you understand technology, this is something that you could come and do and implement into most of the local service businesses. Like, let's take barbering and cutting hair, nails, things like that, for example. There was a time where you had to call or text your barber or whoever it is, your groomer, and they had to write it down in a physical book. They had to remember that you were coming in on Saturday. They had to remember that you were coming in on Saturday. And then they had to remember, all right, I'm going to try to get the person out the chair before you.
Right.
And most of the time, you were spending a full 8 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours in a barbershop waiting because they didn't remember and they were backed up.
It's still like that in New York.
So if you come into an industry...
salon, or when I did go, I haven't gone to a salon.
If you could come into an industry, add some technology to it, all right, they have creating a booking platform. People can book you. All right, that's fantastic. Now you don't have to remember bringing cash. That was something we had to do too. Oh, you don't got cash? All right, send me a Zelle, send me a Cash App. Like, you don't have to do these things anymore. They add technology. They added booking platforms. They added the ability to pay them online. They added the ability to see when you're next up. So these are local service businesses that you could come in and add technology to that would help you grow and scale, and it is very lucrative. As we said, we built $1 million cleaning business with under $1,000.
Yep, and our students are doing $7 million. So let's be very clear on that. A local service business is another side hustle that we would suggest that you start in 2023. So to recap the side hustles that we mentioned, number 1 being virtual assistant, number 2 being event space / content studio,
Owner. Event space.
Events or owner, sorry. Number 3, Turo / Airbnb. Number 4, a digital product / being a coach. And number 5, starting a local service business would be the top 5 side hustles that we suggest you looking into in 2023.
Yes. Again, the notes The notes of everyone that we mentioned will be below. Again, please, we just ask you to leave us a review on this podcast. We release every Tuesday. We got some big things coming.
Every Tuesday.
We got some big things coming in 2023 that we hope that you're interested in. We got some changes on the podcast. We also started a Patreon.
Ooh.
If you're interested in helping us as small content creators, if you don't know what Patreon is, it's a way that you can support content creators doing what they do best, creating content. So if you're interested in that, go to patreon.com/thehartzog. And it's a monthly subscription, and we give you behind the scenes access. We give you monthly Q&As that you could listen. We're going to give you the ability to ask us questions, and we answer them live on the podcast. We'll have segments where we ask you questions that we want you to answer, or you could ask us questions that we're going to go over. We're going to give you, what else are we going to give you? I forgot.
I don't got it in front of me, but the link will be
But if
below.
you go to patreon.com/thehartzog, and we also give you shout outs. There's a quick way that you could plug yourself or your product or your business. Like, we are giving you shout outs. We are thanking you. You are being here with us every week. We're giving you the ability to be creative directors on how we build this podcast in the future. Mm-hmm. The title is Creative Director. So you'll be a part of our podcast every single week. You'll be a part of our show. And this is something that you could help us continue to do and grow in 2023.
Nothing else to say to that. So thank you very much for joining us again. Catch us again on Tuesday mornings to listen to the podcast. Thank you again.
And we also drop the visuals on YouTube. If you like to see the little pop-ups, if we're talking about anything and you want to see the graph behind it, the YouTube gives you the visuals. If you're interested in that, go to youtube.com/thehartzog. Again, that's if you're more of a visual person. We try to change up how it looks, but again, thank you guys for being here. We'll see you next week.
Take care.
Peace.
This has been an episode of the Hartzog Hustle Podcast. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite listening platform. And follow Anthony and Jhanilka on Instagram at The Hartzog. That's TheHartrimony. Keep hustling, baby. Keep hustling, baby.
Get that money. Get that money.